So I'm going to call to order the Harlan Municipal Utilities Board of Trustees meeting on 8 May 2025 at 1600 or 4 o'clock. So I'll call the meeting to order. Can I get an approval of the agenda or any conflict of interest associated with the agenda?
So moved.
Go ahead.
So moved. I approve.
I'm going to make a recommendation
Oh,
of
go ahead.
approval of the agenda.
Okay, can I get that second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Barnett, aye.
Hickes, aye.
Shelton, aye.
Lukey, aye.
So the third item will be the discussion of the OASIS that contains Harlan Municipal Utilities 2025 transmission formula rate. And this is our annual update. So I'm going to turn that over to the CEO for his presentation remarks.
Yeah, I'll just read part of this off of the agenda itself. Per the protocols of this transmission formula rate tariff, I'd like to invite you to the annual update meeting hosted by Harlan Municipal Utilities meeting on May 8th, 2025 at 4 p.m. to discuss the inputs to or results of this latest TFR. I would like to encourage you to review the TFR template ahead of time, which I know you guys had that in your packet, and then if you had any questions, just try to bring those up whenever through this presentation, and then we'll attempt to respond to your requests at a later date too. Got a slideshow to go through that we got pulled up here, so.
And we don't have anybody that dialed in online.
Okay. And like I said, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I know you guys had it in your packet, so just going to kind of highlight on a few things. Let me see here. I had highlights here. So basically on that page 2 there, HMU's FERC approved protocols require HMU to update its ATRR in May of each year. So we do this each year in May. And then we posted our 2025 ATRR to the SPP member-related postings website on April 21st, 2025, which that's required by May 1st of each year. So Kurt got that in ahead of time. And that shows up here on this next kind of timeline, May 1st, deadline to post the updated to the ATRR to the SPP website. Deadline to hold this meeting is by May 31st, which we're meeting that. And then from June 1st on, it's kind of a, I don't know if you want to say kind of a back and forth. I guess it gets reviewed on SPP's end and with FERC. And if there's any questions or comments, you know, they come back and we have to respond. But I know I was involved, I think just in last year's, I think the year before, that had been done right before I was here. I know last year we didn't have any questions on what we submitted. Everything went through once we had it posted and did this meeting. Everything was golden, so. Just going to concentrate on the last 2 bullets there. HMU transferred functional control of the transmission facilities, which we've got the 13.5 miles from here to Avoca. Those were transferred to SPP on October 1st of 2015. HMU's formula rate was approved by the FERC, or Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, on September 28th, 2015, and its initial ATRR was included in SPP's rates in the Upper Missouri pricing zone since October 1st of 2015. And I was going to just probably jump ahead here in case there's any questions. Basically, that's kind of what's included in the rate. You know, operating and maintenance costs, any taxes, principal and interest on any utility debt service. And then I was going to jump to the actual sheet there that lists everything out there. And as you can see, kind of that total at the bottom, so 25 compared to 24, we're actually $6,000 less than we were last year, which is a good thing. I mean, since we're looking at expenses, taxes in that rate. I don't know, any questions at that point, I guess? If there are questions after the meeting, you can submit via email to myself let me get to that. Got my email address up there. And then any answers from this meeting will be posted on HMU page on the SBP member-related posting site at, has that address there. And then as we spoke, or as I spoke before, we will hold this again for 2026 in May. I guess any questions? Like I said, it's just something we have to do, and it's pretty seamless. I mean, it just keeps record of expenses.
So if there's a revision that is substantive, it comes back to us for.
Correct.
But if there's no revision.
Yeah, it just goes through.
It's filed and submitted.
Right.
Okay.
And like I said, it's filed right now, and if there is no revisions, I guess, like I said, we're sitting good then.
Okay.
Any questions, I guess?
No comments? All right, thank you very much. So a motion to close the annual TFR update meeting.
So moved.
I guess I'm not supposed to be making motions as the acting chair, but I'll go ahead and do it anyway. So can I get a motion to close the annual TFR update meeting?
I moved to close
Yeah,
close
One
the,
second, yeah.
that's right, close the meeting.
Okay, can I get a roll call?
Barnett, aye.
Hickus, aye.
Shelton, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Can I get a motion to adjourn this portion of our board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye.
Hickus, aye.
Shelton, aye.
Lukey, aye.
So we stand adjourned. Okay, can I call to order the regular HMU Utility Board of Trustees meeting on the 8th of May 2025 at 4:07 p.m.
We don't need a motion for that part.
Okay. So get a motion for the approval of the agenda and any conflict of interest.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye.
Hickus, aye.
Shelton, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Okay, next item is number 3, which is the approval of the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion with a roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the request is made prior to the time of the board votes. On the motion, consent agenda items may include non-controversial subjects. The consent agenda includes all 3 of these items. A would be the minutes of the April 24th, 2025 board meeting. B, abstract of claims number 1283 in the amount of $635,436.46. And C, the upcoming board meetings, which will be May 22nd, 2025, a regular board meeting, and June 12th, 2025, electronic board meeting. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye.
Hickus, aye.
Shelton, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Okay, the next item is a Mid-American Market Services Agreement.
Yeah, so basically this is part of our joint ownership of the Liza generating plant south of Muscatine. Basically, what this allows is Mid-American Energy to market HMU's share of the power produced at the Liza power plant. So be it power we use, or if it's better for us and the rest of the parties to share or to sell our portion on the open market, that's what they do. So they just manage that power output, our percentage of it. And we approve this pretty much same time every year too. Like I said, it runs from June 1 to May 31st.
Okay. Any questions, concerns? Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion to approve Mid-American Market Services Agreement.
Second.
A roll call.
Barnett, aye.
Hickus, aye.
Shelton, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Okay, the next item is number 5, the collective bargaining agreement, which is a 3-year contract with a 3% increase each year effective July 1st, 2025. This item has been discussed or was discussed part of the administration council or committee.
Yeah, and I don't have anything to add. I think we finally got everything signed and back from the bargaining group and stuff like that, so I think everybody's good with what we came up with, so. I don't know if there's any questions from the board on it,
No, I think.
or anything to add from the members that were,
Financially, you explained that
Yeah.
we're fine with it, so.
okay.
Yeah, from the administrative committee, I think what the utility has done as it relates to insurance, fitness center, healthcare, wages, uniforms, PPE, all that other stuff, I think we're keeping our promise of taking care of the employees of the Harlan Municipal Utilities. So can I get a motion to approve item number 5?
I move to approve the collective bargaining agreement. It's a 3-year contract with 3% increase effective July 1st, 2025.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Barnett, aye.
Eckes, aye.
Shelton, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Okay, next item is the item number 6, which is the hydro optimization on automation solutions. Cyber Protect software maintenance proposal, a total cost of $14,721.75 for an annual cost of program plus updates and technical support.
So some background on this. This software is to be used on our water SCADA system, which is SCADA systems used at the water plant to run the plant, check levels, adjust valving, etc. A lot of that, some of that can be done remotely too from on-call. Previous SCADA system did not have cyber protection, but with today's climate, with cyber attacks, we wanted to be protected. So we thought it was a good investment to move forward. I think it was probably with Brian too. I mean, it was something we looked at and HOA proposed, and it was like, yeah, it's a good idea. Like I said, with what the climate we're in, we don't really want anybody to get into that system and start changing chemical feeds and everything else, And I don't know if there's any questions on that proposal itself that you'd seen in the packet.
So from my understanding, the catastrophic water main break, when we looked into this, was not a result of a cyber incident. So this is us being not reactive, but somewhat proactive.
Proactive?
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe it's a broader question on cyber. We've done this part, right? Are there other parts that we're at risk as a utility?
I mean, that's something we could look at because we're redoing, our electric SCADA too. I suppose that's something, the question that probably should come up once we get that. That isn't fully implemented yet. Same with this, the water SCADA was kind of part of our water project that we're finishing up.
Yep.
So same thing with electric. I suppose that's something we could discuss with Brian and Colburn to see maybe we should look into that too on the electric side, because the only disconnect, I think, a little bit on the electric side, the SCADA system we're going to run there does not allow any electronic switching.
Yep.
We're still going to do that manual just because the electric guys figured out 4 substations. We can easily get to the substations in a quick response.
Yeah.
So they didn't think that was necessary, that we have actual controls back here through a computer. So there's a little bit of a disconnect. So that's something we'll consider to see if we think it's needed.
Okay.
But that's another place we would, possibly look at having something for cybersecurity.
So I agree with Kevin, and what I would add is that there probably needs to be, if IAMU offers a risk assessment, that we get a risk assessment, not just kind of we think.
Yeah,
we
sure.
think, or we
Yeah, we
think.
certainly could do that.
And not one-off, more of a
Yeah,
holistic,
yeah.
right? You get the customer service part, just
Audit of
looking,
everything.
look at that. Because cybersecurity is a real issue, right? So, okay, thanks.
Oftentimes, that's required too by your insurance agencies, and it may help even with your insurance rates if you show that you've had
Which,
that.
we've been on our cyber, insurance policy, which we found out works, you know, here
I mean,
lately.
that's
So.
why we have Brian now.
Yeah.
He kind of looks over all that for us and makes sure there's no,
But yeah, we can certainly discuss that and see where there's some shortfalls, if there is, and go from there.
Yeah, well, I guess the question is, can you do a risk assessment? Or have you done a risk assessment?
I have done a risk assessment before. I can do some risk assessment.
Okay,
We have implemented some things already. We have significant control over applications that would get installed on equipment.
okay.
And so we've basically screwed that down pretty tight.
Okay,
And so we've done some of that, but there's always more to do. That's the problem with cybersecurity.
right,
It's an ongoing process.
right, yep. Yeah, so maybe if they're, rather than dictating a risk assessment, maybe come back and say whether or not you support, whether we need a risk one done externally or if we're taking care of it ourselves. So,
Right.
okay,
Yeah, because I think Brian's had some pretty good, you know, ideas or things that we should do already that we probably weren't doing.
right.
So I mean, we're getting better and better, I think, at it, so.
Okay.
So I move to approve the hydro optimization and automation solution, the HOA cyber protective software maintenance proposal, a total of $14,721.75.
No second.
Roll call?
Barnett, aye?
Hickus, aye.
Okay, item number 7 is just the approval of the agreement.
The agreement itself,
Okay.
yep.
Do we need to finish voting?
Oh, Sheldon.
Smoothie, aye.
Moving right along. I'm already down to three ahead here.
That's okay.
We're not heavy barreling. I need remedial training. Okay, so item number 7 is the approval of the proposed agreement.
Yes.
So I get a proposal in.
And I suppose we could have lumped those together, but
I'll make a motion to approve of HOA Cyber Protect Software Maintenance Proposal Agreement.
Second.
Roll call?
Barnett, aye?
Hickus, aye.
Sheldon, aye.
Lukey, aye.
Sorry about that. Item number 8, recommendation for Al Powers and of P&E Engineering for a pay app number 12 for the 2023-24 overhead to underground conversion project in the amount of $55,121.01.
yeah, there again, just ongoing pay app for Burns Electric, well, LFI/Burns Electric on the overhead to underground project. And I'll kind of give an update on that in my report too, but things like usual, things are moving along okay.
Okay.
I move that we recommend the payout from Al Powers and P&E Engineering for the amount of $55,121.01.
Second.
Roll call?
Barnett, aye?
Hickus, aye.
Sheldon, aye.
Lukey, aye.
So CEO's report.
Yeah, I've got a few items. Like I said, update on the overhead to underground conversion project. Still kind of concentrating in the same area that we taught the last. The contractor is working on setting equipment, pulling wire, connecting to new services. Still kind of working in that Utility Avenue, Trailer Court, Hawkeye Avenue area. I think they got all the wire pulled. Still trying to make some connections, but that's kind of where they're concentrating on right now. Raw water system improvements project. Coy Pumping Service is planning on starting to drill the new location for well 35 on May 19th, or so they say. So, like I said, hopefully that's a date that'll stick. Seems like they're getting ramped up, so at least I think this time they'll move forward. McCarthy Trenching was reminded that the project needs to be completed or possibly completed by the end of June. Did talk to USDA just to make sure that does not affect our funding. Basically, USDA rep stated that the funding is in place into the next fiscal year, but they do want a new completion date, because our last completion date, I think, was December 31 when this all started, and then kind of had to regroup with abandoning the hole they were on and moving to a new spot. So I think probably in our June meeting, we'll probably update, have a change order at least to change the completion date and get them a new completion date so that there's record of that for the USDA. Next item, Cahoy Pumping Service has treated 2 of the 4 wells down there as far as some of the existing wells that we approved. Their plan is to be back on site next week to finish the other 2, the last 2 wells, from what I heard from them this week. Subcontractor from Cahoy Pumping Service bored a test hole on the Scheckner Seed Company property this week, and I don't know who was all on at that point. So this was a year ago, so I suppose Kevin and well, all of you, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably just be Jim and Michelle that would remember that. You know, we did an offer to Scheckner Seed. So basically, with the winding of the river, our property line is based on a straight north-south section line. So basically, Scheckner Seed has about 13 acres on the west side of the river that they can't really get at. It's timber. We've got about 4 acres on the east side of the river that we can't utilize next to their field. So that agreement that we spelled out, approved, and signed, they were gonna allow us to go and do this test hole. And if we found favorable results, we would turn around and pay them about $1,000 an acre for the net 9 acres. 13 minus the 4. So I think we had permission at that point last year to go ahead and start that agreement. With this boring that their subcontractor did this week, we did not find, we were hoping to find that deep aquifer again. They went down 335 feet, did not get into the deep one. But they did find, let me think here, 25 foot of sand and gravel from 7 foot to 32 foot, which would be about the same formation a lot of our existing wells are in down there. I guess my recommendation is for the $9,000 to pick up 9 acres. Granted, it's timber, but that's a place that we can expand the well field in the future instead of having to go south into Danny Wooden's ground, which you're not going to get that for $1,000 an acre. That's probably going to be, he's farming it, so that's probably going to be $13,000, $14,000, $15,000 an acre to get that bought. And he's not going to want to just sell little chunks for wells. He's going to want us to buy the whole, I don't know if it's a full 40 acres in there. So I guess my recommendation is that we would move ahead with purchasing and trading property with Scheckner Seed Company. And as we mentioned in that agreement, we would pay the $9,000 and then we would pay attorney fees. We used Matt to kind of do the deeds where we would swap the property. Myself and HMU employees would do the survey, since I've still got my surveying license, renting Sunquist's equipment like we had been doing. We'd have to pay Sunquist a little bit of time to have their drafts person draw up that plat. So we're not looking at a lot of money when we're all said and done. We might be, if you want to add that all in, if you had to hire out the surveying and everything, you'd probably be looking at $19,000, $20,000 to do it, but we'll save on the surveying end of it. But still, for 9 acres that we can potentially use for, I'm going to say right now, 3 to 4 wells that we could add in the future and not have to purchase some additional ground at this point going south.
I came in on the last end. Didn't we discuss this before?
Yeah, it was just to get the agreement set up. So like I said, we just finally got they finished that up. I think they were boring Tuesday and Wednesday. And like I said, we didn't find that deep aquifer like we wanted to, but there's still some value in having that property. And I know we'd have to work with the city. I don't know how that quite all works. I think we can maintain the property we have even though it's under the city name. I guess I'd have to back up and see how that works with this transferring, since it's still under city name. So,
So let me just ask this, so for clarification. So we went after a deep well. We found water. We couldn't get the well dug. We're abandoning that site and we're moving to where we don't have a deep well, but we have a normal depth well. So we're just adding wells to the same aquifer, as opposed to what the intent with the board was to get a deep well. So what is the plan for a deep well to get into a,
well, these are two separate items on that, Jim. We're still gonna dig the deep well
Okay.
in the east well field. This was just to see if we could find that deep aquifer on this side, and then in the future, we would try to do a deep well on the west side of the river too, where we've got the pipe in the ground with our new water project.
Right.
That we could tie in a deep well on this side.
yeah, so right now, we're still pursuing our primary pursuit. Is
Correct.
Deep well.
The deep well, but this would be, we were trying to look to see if we could have a second deep well on this side of the river.
But we don't know as of right now how much potential additional cost is going to be to get that deep well finished.
I thought it wasn't gonna cost us, they were gonna absorb the cost.
Up to a certain.
Yeah, on the
Yeah.
east side of the river?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be within the change order, we had a change order to go from a shallow to a deep that was approved. That's the number we're looking at, unless we run into something. But it was all laid out to where there should not be any additional cost from the original project plus that change order to go to a deep well.
Yeah, my suggestion would be we don't spend our money until we know for sure there's gonna be no additional costs on our main focus.
Oh, sure.
Which is the deep well.
Sure.
We can continue to plan for, if it comes in at no cost, but the priority is to get that deep well so that we have
Right.
water resiliency or that makes
I think the only thing we were proposing is that we just get this land kind of locked up for now. We wouldn't do any drilling until, it could be 5 years in the future, that we add additional shallow wells in this new property area. But it was just basically to get that area locked up because we know there is potential for additional shallow wells at this point.
Are both properties wooded, heavily wooded, or?
Yeah, even our little bit on the east side, there's a buffer there that's got timber on it too,
Okay.
so.
What did your agreement say? Didn't you already sign an agreement with them that said if it was feasible, then we would purchase it?
Correct.
I don't need to know if you can back out on it. I
Well,
think you
it's
might wanna
not,
look at
yeah,
that.
it's not backing out, it's.
Maybe just
phasing.
waiting, yeah.
Right. Let's.
Yeah, I don't think there was a time on it that said that, well, we wanted to get it purchased by X date. It's just if we found favorable,
Yep.
we would move ahead. And like I said, I have to work with Jarvis as far as
Yep.
how that works, I guess, if we're trading city ground. Like I said, I think in code or whatever, it says that we can maintain
Yep.
city property that we utilize, but when it comes to purchasing additional,
We'll get together and talk.
yeah, I don't think it's, I know it can be done, it's just,
It
we
just
gotta make sure the
stated it's
process.
Harlan, you can't
Yeah,
figure it
yeah,
out.
it would stay in the city of Harlan's name, so.
Sorry about that. Gotta add it off.
So it sounds like more work to do here. Original plan, kind of now we're on to Plan B. What is Plan B and why are we doing it? That's what I would like to see, huh?
Yes, yeah. And like I said, we know there's potential there, so I think it's wise to purchase that ground, especially at that cost. And then have it to where we can expand there in the future.
Yep.
Is what we're after.
So informational, not decision.
Correct. Next item, as we talked, I think last meeting, we just started providing there 2 weeks ago water to Regional Water just to help them out as mutual aid through IWARN. We're averaging, I talked to the guys today and just to get an idea, we're averaging about 50,000 gallons per day that we're giving Regional Water, which I think is really helping them out. Like I said, I think this water is kind of getting pushed to the tenant, West Valley Water Tower, but it's at least helping them out.
And you're not giving it to them.
What? Sorry.
They're being-
Yes,
Just
yes.
to make that
Yeah,
clear.
yeah.
in case somebody out there
$8
watching.
and-
That's a very important word.
Yeah, $8.50 a thousand is what we
Right.
landed on as far as a cost, so.
Okay.
But then HMU is actively monitoring our well levels. and the cyclone tower level very closely. And there again, if our system is affected in any way, HMU will discontinue supplying. So they're keeping an eye on everything close. Next item, Kelly Lefebvre is our new groundskeeper, and he started today. You might have seen him out there mowing.
I did.
Balin hay was what.
Yeah, like I said, it's getting. Then I've got some anniversaries. Kevin Beeson, 29 years.
Wow, nice job,
Eric Rose, 10 years.
nice job,
And Emma Struck, 1 year.
good job.
Congratulations to all of them.
You bet.
So a couple of questions. So, swimming pool, what is the plan for the swimming pool? Or we,
We're gonna have it open, so
as it relates to the water?
anything different.
Okay. Right. And then the second is the 160,000 gallons a day in excess. Is anybody taking that or using it?
We've got some contractors that have stopped by to fill up, that are either hydro seeding or, I mean, it's not like it's a lot of people, but there are people that are utilizing it.
Okay. That's it. That's all the questions I had.
Yeah, I did get I got an email today from Drew at the hospital. He said they're gonna be, the wellness center, they gotta do some work on the pool. Might be like end of June into July.
The seal,
Yeah, he's just worried, they gotta drain it and they'll have to refill it, and Donald's on vacation, now I'll have to talk to him Monday, but he said when they refill, they'll refill at night, which I think is gonna be okay with us. That's when we, don't have a lot of use, that makes sense. So if they're willing to work with us, there again, we'll watch our levels. If we're in trouble, then we're gonna have to talk a little further, but I think if they fill at night, and fill slow, I think there's gonna be no issue with that, but they got some repair work to do there at the wellness center.
Yeah, I think it's all gotta be synchronized, right?
Yes,
So,
yeah, and as long as they're willing to work with us, that's great. That's great.
Can they use potable if they're chlorine that blasted it?
Or you mean like not that non-potable stuff?
That non-potable,
I suppose they could, but,
since they're gonna chlorine blast it anyway?
because I know we did that,
No?
but we did that in the past.
Okay.
We've added
we had a DNR.
makeup water, I think with the city, but they originally filled it with regular potable water, and then we kind of substituted when we were in Water Watch.
Didn't we have to get some sort of DNR approval?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which was a little bit of an administrative burden.
I think, Michelle, if levels are okay and they work with us as far as not filling too fast, I think there's no issue at all, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the perfect storm that we're trying to avoid here, right?
Correct.
Which is, we have a water main break, we're filling both pools, we're
Well, and this
giving.
one will be done after the public pool. He said June or July.
Yeah, June or
okay,
July,
okay.
yep, yeah, they're waiting for June or July. Because I think they wanted to kind of wait until the city pool got going, because that pulls a lot of people away from the wellness center pool. During the summer, people are gonna go outdoors to the city one. So the numbers should be down, that's kind of why they were looking at scheduling it.
Okay.
June, end of June.
Are you opening around Memorial Day then, or?
I'm not really sure on the date. Yeah, Tim Miller.
I think it's right after Memorial Day. I think he said at the Park and Rec.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Alrighty, get a motion to adjourn,
All motion.
Second.
roll call,
Barnett, aye.
Ickus, aye.
Sheldon, aye.
Cookie eye.
Michelle, aye.
That's it, thank you.